Good morning, everyone. Don't be scared. Your property is coming vacant. Everything you need to know about residential rentals coming up next. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak, episode 425, residential rentals, vacancy. Good morning, Luke. Good morning, Mark. Let's talk about it. We always talk about sales, but rentals is a good topic. It probably affects a lot more people. We're coming into winter, which is predominantly a quieter time for rentals, so landlords and their managing agents need to be proactive when it comes to when a tenant gives notice. What's your experience with coming into winter, Mark? What are your best tips for landlords?
Oh, you know what? It's a bit of a myth that. Good morning, Mr. Bergio. It's a bit of a myth that landlords think. Well, we're so exposed to tenants, landlords, rentals, days on market, how long it takes to rent out, and that sort of stuff that we become a little bit. You forget to explain things step by step with your landlord. And at the end of the day, whenever probably the hardest question that I get asked, where I go, I can't believe you're asking that question, is people think that you just can't rent stuff out. Like they will if they buy a property, they will be stuck with it vacant for a long, long time, not be able to pay it back and lose the property.
It's so true. Like it's almost when you're showing a buyer a property and they're like, so how long will it take to rent? Will it take a couple months? And you just think to yourself, months? It takes days. Even in like a bad market, the residential rental period is very, very strong, especially where we live on the northern beaches. So yeah. I think, but Mark, a lot of people don't take into consideration you get notice from an outgoing tenant. It's not just like they send an email, we're leaving, and you got no rent coming in. And that's the difference between a good... Sorry?
They don't just walk in with a key and go, bye-bye.
Yeah. I'm done. Thank you very much. It's been a good property. See ya. Yeah. So typically, what is the notice period a tenant gives, Mark?
So notice periods, look at it. I don't want to get into notice periods because there's different notice, and also I don't want people to rely on them as well. But as in, I heard it here, and it depends if you're approaching the end of the lease. It depends if you've passed the approach at the end of your lease. But the main thing is that there's plenty of notice, and for a landlord, and this is the landlord side of things. Not only are you getting the plenty of notice, but you have a right to access 2 weeks prior. So that really gives you a leg up. And then when, potentially tenants will let you know months prior as well, a month or 2 prior as well. So you've got a leg up there as well. So you're right, Michael. You don't just get delivered the keys and say, now rent it out, and you're stuck with a vacant property straight away. There is a great heads up period where we can promote the property, show prospective tenants through. But the bottom line, guys, is you don't have to worry about, in most parts of Sydney, particularly in the northern beaches, you don't really have to worry about your vacancies as long as you're priced right. Like the biggest, there's 3 reasons why a property doesn't get rented. It's price, it's promotion, and it's presentation. Price, promotion, and presentation. They are the 3 things. So make sure it's priced right in line with everything else in the marketplace. Now, if you're reletting your property, you're going to be not far off, right? If you hadn't rented before at that figure, you should go again at that figure. Promotion, make sure your agent's on a bucket, and opening it, making it easy, and things like that to see the property doing open houses. Signboards in front of the property, realestate.com ad is up, domain ad is up, photos look good. And then presentation, make sure there's nothing ghastly there, like a broken window or anything like that. So make sure that the presentation of the property is good, carpet nice, price, product, promotion.
Yeah, and I think the key thing as well, you get your feedback really quick from prospective tenants. So basically, after one Saturday, if you haven't had the numbers through the open home, you know you need to tweak the campaign. I think hey Lisa, I think some owners and advice from agents being poor is they're like, well, let's just give it a couple of weeks. That the residential market moves so quickly. You know, after a Wednesday, after a Saturday, if you need to improve your price adjustment, your promotion. I think a lot of mistakes I always hear of, they're like, oh, we'll give it a couple of weeks. Like, no, couple of weeks in rentals is like months.
Absolutely, and that attitude goes a long way, because I think if imagine if everyone carried that what happened in a couple of weeks, month attitude, property would take a long time to get rented. But tenants know it's a snappy thing you do in rentals. Like you don't, it happens fast. You can get in fast, application gets approved fast, move in fast. It all happens in a short time frame, different to sales. But
Yes.
definitely, the big message from today, Burge, to people is just, don't be freaking out about vacancy period if you're buying an investment property. Like that's probably the biggest driver for not buying a rental property is shit. Am I not going to have a rented?
100%. But also, Mark, I think when we talk about promotion, I think owners should also do a little bit more. Get professional photography. You're going to own this asset for many years. It's okay to, let's say, I know with my property, you've got professional photos done, and let's say they move out in a year, you can reuse those photos. I think a lot of landlords don't give the promotion side of things as much value as they would with the sale property. They're like a lot of, and it also comes off the back
And I
of
don't think it's
agents.
the landlord's fault either. I think it's more our industry's fault.
No, I agree, and that's what I feel like. And not enough agents push their owners as well, going, you've just bought this property for $600,000, spend $500, get professional floor plans, videos done, photography, and we can keep it on file, and you can use it for many, many years to come.
Or 2 years, right? If the average tenancy goes for 2.5 years, so over a 10-year period, you're going to reuse those photos, you're going to reuse that floor plan, and you're going to reuse that video 4 times. So even if you're spending $600 on those marketing assets, you still divide that by 4. It's $150 a pop, and it's going to get it rented quicker. It's going to help you find a better quality tenant. Going to help you get more rent, because that anything packaged up or marketed better, get the better price. Back 101 with marketing. So, I think that pulling all that back to vacancy, that comes into one of those 3 P's: price, product, promotion. That promotion part of it, you can nail that. The product part of it, give it a lick of paint, carpet, make it look nice, and then make sure you're got the right agent on the job, and make sure your price is right. What sort of vacancy period should one expect on a 2-bedroom unit, on a house, on the Northern Beaches, for instance, Virgin?
Yeah, so on DY, your vacancy is probably about 2 to 3 weeks, but keep in mind, you would normally have a couple of weeks notice as well. So there's probably 2 parts. It's vacancy as in no rent being collected, could be 7 to 14 days, but on the market for lease could be that sort of, 2 to 4 weeks. Let me get it exactly, actually. RP data will tell me this. Trend.
Don't you? The great the magician of data, if you like going on to. I know Lisa loves data.
Lisa loves it.
She loves the word.
Rental Asking number of listings. Oh,
Rental
maybe it
yield
wasn't
3.62 for DUI.
median asking rent. Oh, it doesn't tell you days on
So
stock percent.
that'll be your mate's report.
Yeah, SQM would have it. Yeah. But either way, it's fairly. It definitely shouldn't be deterring people or scaring people. I think it does. I reckon a lot of people do fear vacancy. Could it be re-rented? And especially from an agent's point of view, it's the least thing to worry about. So hopefully with this conversation, people can be reassured. And there's plenty of stuff you can do. Let's say you do have a difficult property to rent or the market, or it's a difficult time in the market. Keep it simple. Focus on the 3 Ps: your price, your promotion. Also, I always look to, if you've got a property that's been on the market for a little while, I've always done sometimes a bit of a commercial tactic, first week free, or along those lines as a big draw card to bring people into the open homes, especially where it really helps market.
I'm not a fan of it. I think it sucks.
Yeah, but it generates.
Because at the end of the day, if there's 52 weeks in a year, you've got the ability to bring the rent down to $30. 1 week free is going to be what, $30 is my maths right? $60. 30.
Yeah.
Hang on. 30 over 50. So I would rather than going a week's rent, I'd rather just put that on the table for the tenant to enjoy a lower rent. But, look, there's probably no psychology, science behind it, or psychology behind it. It is what it is.
Psychology. But also, when you've got many properties the same on the market, it gives a point of difference rather than a race to the bottom. And yes, you could give $30 off a week, but if they're staying there for 2 to 3 years, you lose. It's actually a bigger reduction. So it's changing things up as well. And just like I said, rentals moves quickly. So if it doesn't work for that Wednesday to that next open, change it up. Don't. I think agents are complacent.
And on signing off, I personally, just as a bit of a yardstick as a landlord, I'd probably allow for a vacancy. I think our industry vacancy is sitting around that 5% in New South Wales. But I think if you can allow for half a week a year or a week a year every year, that's more than enough. And the reason why I mention that is some people may just think, a month a year it'll be vacant. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to put it out there that it's really you're talking half a week, if that, 1 week, if that, a year. Being an investor is not hard work when it comes to vacancies. Is our point from today's conversation.
Yeah, very true, and that's a wrap. Anything else you want to add on to that, Mark?
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, and we'll be back for breakfast at Novak shortly.
On Monday. See you, man.